and that it would be unforgivable post-election if we had not.
First of all, I have to say that Jay and I were, I think, of like mind here, that if the election, for whatever reason, in whatever manner, were to go south, and then afterwards it was learned that we knew about what the Russians were doing, or had some pretty good insight into what they were doing, and we didn't say anything about it before the election, there would really be hell to pay.
Finally, Obama agreed.
Obama still doesn't want this to be in his name, so he enlists his intelligence chief, James Clapper, and his Homeland Security chief, Jay Johnson, to put out a statement in their names, hoping that that will be perceived as less partisan than if the president had done so himself.
In some ways.
But just agreeing on what would be said would be difficult.
The statement that Jim Clapper and Jay Johnson put out went through an arduous review process, including the White House Situation Room, just trying to get the tone right, make sure the message was right.
The vetted statement was just 3 paragraphs long.
The Russian government directed the recent compromises of emails from U.S. persons and institutions.
There were a few interesting things about that intelligence report. First, it gave us no details. Second, it was incredibly late. And it took the intelligence community more than 2 months to be able to come up with a few sentences that essentially confirmed that story.
Also missing, any mention of President Putin's personal involvement.
They could have said Putin, but they didn't. His name got taken out in the final statement because of a concern over sources and methods and of concern about appearing to be too provocative.
It didn't say they had seen evidence, although they had. It didn't say they were listening in on conversations that would take it directly to Putin, although they had. It said it had to have been ordered at the highest levels.
At the White House, they held their collective breaths and sent it out to the media.
I thought our statement was going to be really, really big news. It was unprecedented that the U.S. government was accusing another superpower of effectively putting their thumb on the scale of our democracy and attempting to influence our election.
They planned the release for a Friday afternoon.
From the White House's perspective, they're going to drop this thing on a Friday.